Hey there, thanks for watching. My name is Christiana and this channel is The Well-Behaved Wallet, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the system I use to manage my money. It is nothing sophisticated, nothing complex. It's very simple and basic, but I've been using this system for over 12 years and I've really found that managing my money this way has given me a tremendous amount of peace and stability. So I'm sharing this system for a couple reasons. Number one, it's worked for me. I've been able to dig my way out of consumer loan debt. I'm consumer loan debt free. I've eliminated my car payment. I don't have a car payment anymore. And I've also been able to dig myself out of about 75% of my student loans. My only remaining debt is a small student loan at, I think it's like 1% interest, so I'm not super focused on getting rid of that right now. My main goal at the moment, my main focus, is to build a strong emergency fund. The second reason I'm sharing this is because I found that seeing other people's processes and how they do things is really helpful. It's useful to have sort of a template and to know kind of how other people are having success in doing things. I am by no means an expert at all. The only thing I know for sure is my own story and what works for me. So that's why I'm sharing this. The final reason I'm sharing this is because people have asked how I track my daily expenses, because I do keep track of every penny that I spend. And again, that just contributes to my overall feeling of stability. Emotions around money can be really intense, but I found for me, the greatest stability I can give myself is by tracking every single cent that I spend. I might not like what I'm doing with it, but tracking is the first step to realizing where you are and pointing yourself toward a better place. All right, so here is the layout of the sheet that I use to keep track of my daily spending. So you can see I have a line for each and every time I spend money, and I do this every day. I'll go through the columns and then kind of explain my process to you. I have a column for day of the week, a column for month, and a column for date, so I can sort as needed. Under month, you can see that I have different months for every month that we've gone through so far this year. And under date, I can sort by this numerically. So I can start at the top of the month and go down. I also have a column for amount, so how much I spent, a column for where, so where did I spend that money, and then a column for category, so what budget category does this expense fall under. And then I have a column for what, which is like a notes column, so I can write down exactly what I spent and why. You can see I get really detailed with this. I spent $10 for bagels on a Saturday, and I wrote exactly where and the kind that I got, because I'm just someone that likes to keep track of those details. It's fun for me. It makes me feel kind of engaged like that. So I'll also go through, you can see item by item. On Friday, the 1st of May, I did not spend any money, so I will track that as well as a way to keep track of days that I didn't spend any money. I have kind of a competition with myself to see how many days I can spend no money, and I enter that as NSD, which is a no spend day. So going through, so far, you can see I have expenses at Home Depot. I ordered some grocery items from Amazon, a gift item from Amazon as well. I had food out with a friend, and again, I had bagels with a friend. And this, again, just really helps me see where my money is going. I can also sort by category, that's the purpose of that, and I can see where I am tracking in my budget. So before I go shopping, groceries is a big category here. I will total up how much I've already spent. So you can see I have a total of $219 that I've spent in my grocery budget. My grocery budget for this month is $600. I know that might sound like a lot, but I used all of that last month and I'm tracking to use that much this month. The reason I think why it's so high is because I'm kind of replenishing a lot of my pantry stores, which I had not had a fully stocked pantry before. So I'm really taking the time to amp up my spending there. So getting back to the process of how I do this, I found that, again, listing each and every expense that I spend, every time I spend money, helps me make sure that I am tracking accurately. And it just gives me a clear picture of what's gone on. And if I have a question about a specific day, if I'm like, hey, what did I spend last Friday? I can go back and see exactly what I spent last Friday. And you can see it's kind of a lot. But then I know exactly why it's a lot, because I was doing my grocery spend there. I ran out and I ran some other errands as well. I got stamps from the post office. Things like this help me feel stable and solid and grounded in a concrete plan. So that's my daily spending tab, and that's what I do. Again, nothing complex. It's just kind of a gradual listing of each item. On the monthly plan and recap tab, this is where I keep track of my spending plan, budget, whatever you want to call it. I'm not always the best at reconciling and closing out my budget monthly. This is something that I like to do because it again gives me an idea, a greater picture of on a month view what's going on with my money and what I'm doing in regard to the plan that I set out. And then what I will do to sort of square this up is go to my daily spending. I'll sort by category here. I'll take, for example, groceries. I'll take that total amount and I'll put that right here next to the amount that I set out in my monthly plan. So that's the monthly plan and recap. The expense chart is just an idea of what I spend, where my fixed costs are and where my variable costs are. This varies kind of month to month. Utilities are pretty fixed. Housing is pretty fixed. Phone, I have my student loan, car insurance, some health accounts that I've set up, and then Amazon, Prime, and Netflix. And then I have the variable categories as well. And this just kind of lets me see at a glance what I'm planning to spend and where my fixed expenses lie. And then I use an upcoming expenses and wish list tab. And this also helps me keep track of my impulse spending. So this is something I just started doing. If I have an item that I'm thinking about buying that I know isn't really a necessity, I'll throw it here in the wish list item. That way I have time to think about it and process it and really research the best prices that I have, that I can find. And that will help me track on kind of making sure that I'm not falling prey to any random impulse buys, which has been a problem for me in the past. And I'm looking forward to using this tab more because I just started using it. So really making sure that I'm creating a wish list rather than spending that money. I save all the receipts I get when I go shopping for groceries or what have you. And a couple of times a week when I have a free moment, I will take those receipts and put them into a plastic folder with 12 sections divided by month. I don't use these receipts for anything specifically, but I find it helpful to have them for reference when it comes to things that I'm buying throughout the month and purchases that I make. Business receipts go in a separate folder, and I use those to claim deductions and to verify that information. But on a personal level, when it comes to just sort of managing the house and my life and things like that, it's helpful to have all my receipts in one place. So if I ever have a question about something I spent, or if I need to return something, I know exactly where that receipt is. It's not like flying around. It's not stuffed in my wallet somewhere. It's helpful to have just one central place where I can go and know that all my receipts are housed. This I actually just started doing recently, and it's really worked out well for me. So this system I highly recommend. When it comes to things that I do with my money yearly, there are two main things. Number one is taxes. We all gotta pay them. And number two is tracking my net worth and really having a comprehensive view of my total assets and liabilities. So let's start with taxes. So I just keep my taxes, my tax returns, any tax documents in a folder. That folder is usually red. I found that it's helpful to have one consistent color. So if I'm looking for things in my folders, I know that a red folder is a tax folder. I keep all earnings statements here. I keep my W-2s here that I get, and I keep any statements from like savings, bank account statements. You can find almost all of this online nowadays. I find it helpful though to have printed copies. If I need a printed copy, I know that it's in a red folder and I can reference that easily. The second thing I do is track my net worth with assets and liabilities. And I try to do this monthly or every couple of months just so I'm really tracking that closely. But in terms of doing a comprehensive overview of everything that's going on financially in my life, I like to do this once a year, and it's usually around my birthday. I find that that's helpful to do, and I'll usually start the process a month out. So my birthday's in October, so around about September I'll start thinking about what's going on for the year, trying to gather all my documents that I want to review. So we'll keep them as well in a red folder because I find that anything to do with money is usually colored red. It's actually color for prosperity, so I like using that. But I'll use either a different shade or maybe a lighter shade to denote net worth type stuff. So that overview I've done that for the past 5 years, like a yearly sort of birthday check-in, and it's kind of gone up and down because, you know, as I'm sure you're aware, finances aren't a linear journey. You have your ups, you have your downs, you have highs, you have lows. And for me, some years it's been difficult. Like this past year it was difficult to track because I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I found that by doing it consistently, you start to see those patterns, and it's really about consistent growth and overall wins. So I highly recommend tracking yearly. that's what I do to manage my money. The system has worked really well for me, and I'm happy to share it with you, and hopefully it'll inspire you to take better control of your money, to take more control, and to be more aware of what's going on with your finances. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments below. And if you've gotten this far, do me a favor and please smash the like button. It helps for the YouTube algorithm, and I would like more people to see this because my mission is to inspire more people to start building the life of their dreams. So thanks again for watching, and I hope that you'll keep watching. Bye!